City what?
City of North Dakota, 30,000.
Okay, we're live.
City of North Dakota.
The meeting is now in session. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Greg, roll call.
Mayor Bollington,
Here.
Councilmember Campbell,
Here.
Councilmember Green,
Here.
Councilmember Mays,
Here.
Councilmember Barnhart,
Here.
Councilmember Bahi,
Here.
Councilmember Huntsman,
Here.
Administrator Dodson,
I am here.
Solicitor Ron,
Present.
Fire Chief Rocky,
I'm not here.
Police Chief Inlow, Bishop Waltrach.
Everybody's here. All right, thank you. All right, so we will kick off tonight with public comments. Just as a reminder, it is a 5-minute limit that we've set for public comments. So if you would like to address council in the group, you would just stand up, state your name, and let us know what you're wanting to talk through, and we will go from there. So I'm going to start with Bink over here on my right. Nothing for this evening?
No.
Nothing? Delbert, you?
Nothing.
Delbert, all right.
Give me something to talk about.
All right, Sue.
Thank you. Things passed out here. The three of you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Hope I didn't unplug any times.
I don't think so. We're still streaming.
Go past this then. Please. Okay, thank you for letting me address the council this evening. My name is Sue McKinley, and I am here representing America 250 Brown County. I have been given the task of overseeing the celebration that we will have in Brown County the 4th of July of 2026. So the proper name for the celebration is the Semi-Quincentennial of America. I love that word. What I've handed you tonight is a sponsorship packet, and before I go through that, I'd like to let you know some of the things that we're planning to do. Initially, and you'll see this in the packet, but initially we thought that perhaps we were going to be able to hold some events around the courthouse square. But in conversation with High History Connection, who is overseeing the lot of this, the Appalachian grants aren't supposed to be finished until October of 26, and we were fearful that things might still be torn up. So everything will be held at the fairground, all of it, except for a parade. And if we can get a parade together, it will come through town. Other than that, everything has now been relocated to the fairground. It is a one-day celebration. It'll begin around 10 o'clock in the morning on the 4th of July. Like I said, we'd like to kick it off with a parade. There will be interactive booths from different organizations, different villages, and that's one of the reasons I'm here. Georgetown hasn't stepped up to the plate yet, so I want to ask that we get some representation at our meetings. The meetings are open to absolutely anyone that lives in the county. So you don't have to be a member of a council, you don't have to be a member of an organization, anyone is welcome to come. Our next meeting is the 2nd of April at 6:30 in the evening at the Educational Service Center, which is on Hamer Road, and it's the little building that's right next to the Career Center. And we'll be in that big conference room there. That's where we hold our meetings. And I keep all meetings to 1 hour, so you can be assured that you'll be out of there by 7:30 if you come. What we have asked, we have met with the villages and asked them, and again, Travis wasn't here at the time I first met him. We've got a lot of new faces sitting at the table. But we've asked each village to come up with some kind of an interactive display, historical display, in regards to their community and what their community has contributed over the years, etc. And a couple of examples. Ripley is doing a interactive diorama of 1850. So they will have this humongous board that will have little buildings and everything all over it, and you'll be able to touch one and it'll tell you what that building was and what it did and so on and so forth. Russellville is highlighting Yellow Dent corn, which was discovered in, I don't know that discovered is the right word, but in Russellville, Ohio, and it is now a $17 billion industry. It is now owned by a large corporation out of Chicago, but they are coming in and they're going to highlight Yellowdead corn and have all kinds of corn stuff for kids to play with and so on and so forth. So those are the kinds of things that we're trying to highlight. If you go through your sponsorship packet, you will see that a couple of the big things. There's a separate page in there at the very end, which is an individual sponsorship type thing, but we'll have fireworks, and we're having a concert. Noah Smith will be our concert, and then prior to Noah, there are 3 groups that will be playing. Final Countdown, Abe's Lincoln, and Chucky's in Love. So those 3 will be playing prior to Noah Smith. So we'll have that music going on throughout the afternoon. We'll have jugglers, we'll have stilt walkers, we'll have clowns, we'll have all of those kinds of things. We'll have games, etc., etc. Absolutely everything is free. Everything except the food trucks, and you'll have to buy your own food and drink. But there's no admission charge, there's no parking charge. We are making a gift from the people of Brown County to the people of Brown County. So just so you know that. I'm here to ask for a donation from the village, and I would like, if possible, a $5,000 donation so that we can kick it off with Georgetown. I'll be going to all the villages to ask, but since Georgetown's my hometown and I take pride in it, I wanted to kick it off here. So I'd like to request a $5,000 donation to be used. And I can, of course, there'll be lots of highlighting. We did get a $50,000 donation from the commissioners, the board of commissioners from Brown County. They did provide us with a $50,000 donation. Now, if you'd like to match them, not a problem. But anyway, that's my purpose. My contact information is on the very last page of the brochure. So if you have questions, please reach out to me. And like I said, I would love to have somebody from Georgetown participating. So.
Is that something we can just go ahead and make a motion on? Because I think that's a good thing. I'd like to think the rest of the council agrees. I'd like to make a motion to give the $5,000 to them for the sponsorship of this.
All right.
Second.
Councilmember Mays has properly made the motion with Councilmember Ring seconding that motion. Greg, roll call.
Councilmember Campbell,
Yes.
Councilmember Rain,
Yes.
Councilmember Mays,
Yes.
Councilmember Barnhart,
Yes.
Councilmember Bahi,
Yes.
Councilmember Hanson,
Yes.
all approved.
All right, so everyone in? All right, so yes, looks like this council's more than willing to give you a donation. I was gonna say, did you make these?
Uh-huh.
This is very nice.
Thank you. Thank
That's
you.
a very good way to showcase and
Yeah.
sell the event, so I'm
Um,
very impressed by that.
Thank you very much. There are a few things that are incorrect in there or have changed. One of them saying that we'll have stuff around the courthouse. Like I've explained, that's not going to happen. High History Connection asked that they all be held at courthouses, all 88 courthouses in the state. It's much easier to have it.
Yeah,
So that worked out for us. So,
and we'll definitely work to get representation at your meetings.
Great, thank
So
you.
that's not a problem.
Is there a beer booth?
Well, we've talked about it. We're not sure yet. There may possibly be, but we haven't figured that out yet. Anyway, yeah.
Well, I was thinking maybe with a couple of the breweries that there's around that they might,
Might be willing to.
yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for the suggestion, though. Guys, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sir, would you like to address council?
I'm only here to listen to see what's going to be done with Dirt Alley.
Okay. All right, thank you. Okay, so we're we're gonna move along, and Travis, if you would like to lead us through our department reports.
Okay, so we don't have anything from fire or police this evening. Utilities, I did have a meeting with our public works this week, and we're gonna start working, they're gonna start working as a full group to start removing trees around the walk path in preparation of the widening of the walk path that'll be coming when the paving opens. So they're going to start that over the next couple of weeks. And then let's see, streets, they've still just been doing pothole patching. We have a couple of sinkholes that they'll be repairing over the next couple of weeks. And then for the park, other than the walk path renovation that's coming, the playground equipment, if you've seen, is pretty well in place now. So once it dries out, we'll get that cleared up and get the mulch in there, and it'll be ready for activities. And I think that's all I have for this section.
Okay. Any questions for Travis?
On the parks, were we still looking to try to get the, like, a comprehensive or like the
Yeah. I had a meeting scheduled last week to go through that again with the engineers, but then I had flu all week, so I've had to reschedule that. So hopefully the next meeting we'll have more on that.
Anyone else? All right, we will roll into our general business, and on page 2, you will see an ordinance vacating a portion of Third Alley. And let's flip to that, and Kelly, when ready, would you read that for us?
Sure.
Ordinance vacating a portion of Third Alley and declaring an emergency.
All right, so Travis or Joe, would you help us with a little more info here?
So I believe tonight we're just having a first reading. I'm sorry.
I guess a second.
So this is the second reading, and I believe the surveying has all been completed. And
Yes.
So this,
Did we send out notice to you?
I do not know.
Okay. But we did advertise it.
all right, so are you guys aware of which alley this is, where we're speaking to what we talked about at the last meeting?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's an alley that we are wishing to vacate and divide it basically among the,
Yeah, so the way that it works is the land that's there will be returned to the property owners on either side. It's split evenly down the center. And then what happens is we'll record our vacation plat, and then those individual property owners will be replatted to include that land. So that land is actually added to their parcels, and they can record that as their own. So and we're walking away from it, so.
Is it grass or?
It's just grass. It's a paper alley.
Yep.
Now, I did give the gentleman bad information, because I was thinking this was the first reading tonight, so he may wish to speak before there's a vote.
On that alleyway, the way it looks at, from what I've looked at online, and from what I've got from Teresa and Max, my plot should be straight in line. The new surveying doesn't put it in straight in line. One puts my property line in the front, almost even with the side of my garage. The other one puts the property line in the middle of the back behind my garage, about halfway in the middle of my garage. So going back to 20 years ago and looking at the plots then, everything was in line. So I don't know what happened this time, if it was taken off the fence row, well, instead of pins, or where, nobody has answers for me.
I do.
Chris.
I found all your corners of your lot. Now, actually based the vacation off of your lot because it was the most recent survey. All the corners are there set by Jim Mitchell. So I found your corners, and then when I went back to Green Street, I found that corner. It's all a straight line. Then I went 12 feet over and set the pin in the northwest corner and the pin at the northeast corner across the alley from you. So everything is in a straight line. Sometimes perception is a little different. But I even brought my field book that I can show you about. I found all of your corners of your property, every one.
I've got pictures of it. I put a stake in right where your pin is,
Yeah.
and it's dead right to the center of my garage.
It
It's
might
not
be-
over on the side.
I don't know who built your garage and when it was built. I have no idea. I just know where I found the corners. And they're all match up to what Jim Mitchell did back in 2000. When did Jim survey that? I don't have the survey.
Looks like back 2002.
Okay. And I found all of his corners. That's why I based that whole thing on. Because there wasn't anything else to base it on that was visible.
But when they get to the back, now where Pleasant Street is, I find 2 pins.
There's a pin, there may be, because there's a pin here and a pin here on each side of Pleasant Street. There might be 2 pins, but I found your actual corner in it, everything measured out. So I don't know what the perception is.
Sitting here telling you what I see and what I've taken pictures of versus what I see on the paperwork that they give me, it doesn't match up.
I have no idea what to tell you. I don't know.
Chris, just to clarify, from where you divided the line, does that create an issue for his garage? I guess that's what I'm asking.
But basically, the pin in front, let's say the southeast corner of the alley, is in his driveway. It's in the northern part of his driveway. Not by much, but it's a little bit in his driveway. But and again, I found it matches all the corners within, quarter-inch match up.
Does that create an issue with the lot?
Because he'll get 6 more feet over.
Okay.
So, no.
So that's not going to create an issue when the lines are redrawn?
In the front doesn't seem to be an issue, but in the back it does.
But you'll be getting 6 more feet, so everything on your
That
property
6
will
feet
be.
won't match up at the back.
Okay.
But it will all be on your property is what I'm hearing.
I don't know whether go or not, nothing looks of it.
Yeah, I'm just basing it on, you did the survey, so.
Yes, I didn't locate the garage. That wasn't what I was doing.
That garage originally was supposed to have been 10 foot off the property line. But I was sick with COVID when they built it, so I don't know what happened.
Yeah, I don't know either. I wasn't there.
Yeah, I don't either.
Well, the only reason I'm asking you, sir, is we don't want to create a problem for you by vacating it, but it sounds like it should fall within your lot.
Well, I don't see where it'd be a problem vacating it to begin with, because you're gonna get 6 more feet of ground.
Right.
So, you're actually gonna benefit from the vacation of it. Because if you don't vacate it, then it's still open to the public, and someone could request actually that it be open.
Well, is the west side already vacated, or is it still there?
No, it's all there. It goes all the way to
What
Green
is
Street.
blacktop?
That's there.
It goes all the way to Green Street.
Oh, that's the east side. Or no, that's the
That's
west.
the west side.
But the east side now.
The east side's not been vacated.
Yeah, we're only vacating this side of it.
From Main Street to
Part
Green
of it,
Street.
part of it's been blacktop there, which is next door to my neighbors across the street. And mine, where we're at there, there's 6 of us involved there. I don't know where the rest of the people were, they were supposed to be here tonight, nobody showed up. So I guess they don't care.
I can't tell you about across the alley. I just know what was surveyed. And sometimes when you get these old towns, you have to survey what's in your block. And you work from town out. But some of these blocks of these old surveys don't actually line up. We actually have one in Fayetteville where the house was just dead. I went to council last night. The house is, they're gonna get 8 1/4 feet and the house is 10 feet into the alley. So they're gonna have to actually do quitclaim from the other neighbor. I didn't like it where it was when they built it, because it wasn't a built alley. It was grass, just like this.
The alleyway there, I've been told is 12 feet. I've been told it's 18 feet. I've been told it's 20 feet. I went back out and talked to Teresa. She gave me the papers to show us 12 feet.
Right here in black, original black, 12 feet.
And I was going 18 feet was what Luther Schaefer said it was when he worked in the town. And he gets the back part of the back there anyway, back by the other end of it. Like I
Yeah,
said,
no, I mean, the original plat says 12 feet, so it is 12 feet.
this all started because my neighbor after 20-some years, I get a new neighbor and he tells me my garage is sitting 4 foot on his property. The new garage. that I
It's
had.
not.
No, it's not.
But it was the shadow off the garage when they took the picture. It threw the shadow and it looked like it was out
On
there.
the aerial, yeah.
I got that straightened out, but then he started putting chicken pens and shrubbery and everything else. I said, you're on my property. No, I'm not. Yeah, you are. So,
Well, now that should
now
be
we're here with
definitive.
this to try to resolve it.
Well, by
He
vacating
doesn't
this,
show
it
up.
should be pretty definitive now that it's not on your property and everybody should know where the new lot lines are.
That will be well, whoever surveys it will be well marked.
Okay.
I have a question for you now. The pin that you put, not the one in my gravel, but the one over the middle, is that the middle or is that?
That's the other side of the alley.
That's the other side. So somewhere 6 feet in between that is
Yes.
where my property
Yes.
goes to.
Yep.
Okay, that should be still good then.
So there won't be a problem if he ever decides to sell or
No, it'd
anything?
have to be replatted and not, you can't mix lots of land in Brown County, So you have to replat it, add that strip of ground has to go and then become, your lot, what, 19, 17?
Actually, I'm 4 lots.
I know, but, I guess, right, it's now an R.
Down,
17R, I think it is, so it'll be
yeah, something like
17RA or something, we'll give some order, alphanumeric on that. Yeah, that's usually what happens, or R1.
We went to 17R.
Yep, 17.
So sir, it sounds like all you'll need to do then is to get your property replatted, you can actually reach out to him, to Mr. Renshaw, and they'll be able to do that. And then they record that, and then it's there for the world to see.
It'll be well marked.
Yep.
All those will be well marked, because you got 6 people back in there, so everything
Correct.
will be well marked.
I went back to the guy that done it 20-some years ago, and he told me $600 and come out and do it. Yeah.
I'd work that out, maybe reach out to Mr. Renshaw.
I have his name and his phone number and his card, so
Yes.
Then you're good.
Yes.
Okay. It just sounds like the
That's
issue
what we were out
resolved.
there, didn't we?
if I can't find my mother, either can.
I'll make a motion to move forward on vacating a portion of Third Alley.
All right, Mr. Mays has properly made a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Mr. Baki. All right, Greg, roll call.
Councilmember Campbell,
Yes.
Councilmember Ring,
Yes.
Councilmember Mays,
Yes.
Councilmember Barnhart,
Yes.
Councilmember Bobby,
Yes.
Councilmember Huntsman.
Yes.
All right, and that would be ordinance 1388.
All right, motion passes. Ordinance number 1388. Thank you. All right, continuing on page 5, there is another resolution, and Mr. Campbell, if you could read that by title for us.
A resolution adopting the public records policy for the village of Georgetown, Ohio.
All right, and Joe, can you give us some?
Yes, you may recall that I guess it was in December, I told you that the Ohio legislature changed the law in Ohio that allows communities to charge for video cam footage that we have to edit when there's a public record request made by the public. Many people watching and many people that are here may not be aware of this, but the village gets a high volume of requests for video footage, often from commercial requesters. Meaning these could be people in California who will send something that says, I just want a copy of all body cam where anyone ever ran from the police from this date to this date. Or it could be simpler and say a copy of the body cam footage from a police responding to Parker's one night when there was a fight or some issue at a restaurant. And they want to see it because they just have curiosity. What they don't realize is the law right now requires us, for instance, anytime our police are inside someone's residence, we have to blur out the inside of their home. That's not something that people are privy to being able to see. They only get to see the activity of, what the officer's view is outside of that. Or if they are arresting someone and they're saying, what's your name, what's your social security number, what's your date, we redact that private information. Or another very practical thing is if they respond and someone's having a medical issue, whether it's from an injury or they think they're having a heart attack as a result of something, that's medical information. So we have to redact certain information. That's not as easy as it sounds because Tara or Chief Inlow and his staff have to spend a great deal of time, and oftentimes it also involves legal review. We're permitted now under the ORC to charge $75 an hour for essentially the time it takes to go through that process. My personal belief is that this was designed for the commercial requesters who do this as a matter of course so they can post it online, but the reality is it's often, whether it's a media outlet or someone else making the request, if it involves hours and hours of staff time or editing tools to produce this and comply with the other sections of the ORC, there should be some fee attached. So the law now allows us to charge that. So I'm proposing that we amend our public records policy to allow for that. The other thing we did is we've kind of cleaned up new nuances that, kind of tool it to Georgetown, making it more clear for people, what records are available and how we produce. In the interest of transparency, this is very clear, it's very concise what we do, and it will now include that new provision, which we're not allowed to do. It goes April the 10th. So that's the first time we'd be able to charge. I did do it as an emergency so we can go ahead and know, I didn't, but it's a resolution, that's why. So what I did do is I put in there that we wouldn't charge until April the morning of April 10th when it goes into effect. The reason for that is so that Chief Enlow can adopt a policy on how we're going to handle those requests between now and then. So,
Sounds great, really.
yeah, and it's
It eliminates a lot of the frivolous.
Hopefully.
hopefully.
$75 means a little bit.
I will tell you, and again, I can't emphasize enough, I don't think people realize how much work goes into the editing, and I really do credit Tara and our police department for that. Sometimes calls are very complicated when you have 3 or 4 officers going into someone's home to deal with a domestic situation, and they request all the body cam footage. We have to go through each one of those officers' body cam and blur out certain information, images of children. If anyone is, not dressed, I mean, things can happen in the middle of the night. So these are all things that I think it's a wise thing, like you said, to weed out those policies, but it does allow us to recoup a small portion of the time. And I'm sure Chief Enlow will work to adopt it in such a way that it's, fair. So.
Does that include if like an accident and there's footage of that? If
Yeah.
someone requests to
Yeah.
see who's at fault or something? Okay.
Yeah, and again, that goes back to just blurring out. Usually that's a lot simpler because it's audio. I already require that, they're in-dash camera, computer screens or NDCs. We blur that out so people can't read people's private information. I think people would be surprised at, and I know Travis is aware of it, and Tara's certainly aware of it, the high volume of requests that we get. And we had one recently that was over 3 hours worth of footage that we had to edit. So it can involve a lot of time. So
Questions? If there are no additional questions, I would entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve the resolution.
Councilmember Bakke has made a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Councilmember Hanselman. Greg, roll call.
Councilmember Campbell,
Yes.
Councilmember Ring,
Yes.
Councilmember Mace,
Yes.
Councilmember Barnhart,
Yes.
Councilmember Bahi,
Yes.
and Councilmember Hanselman.
Yes.
All approved. And that will be resolution 1403.
All right, motion passes. Resolution 1403, is that correct?
Yes, 1403.
All right.
Where does the funds go to? Like what?
it's a good question. Travis, that's going to be a budgeting issue. I would think back to cover the costs.
That'd go, I would think, yeah, it would be mayor's court or police, it would go in a mayor's court or police fund, but I guess it would be a police fund. Yeah, we may need to create a fund, we'll have to look at that.
Good question. All right, and we're gonna skip over the ordinance approving and adopting the Ohio Basic Code, just simply because there's still more work that needs to be done on that code before we can pass it. So just not enough time to get that completed prior to today's meeting. So with that said, we will go on to page 9, and there's an appropriation there. And Greg, I'm probably gonna look at you to give us some input on what we're doing here.
All right, so at the beginning of the year, we had passed our temporary budget, which is required in order to continue writing checks and any payment through the village. Basically, we have until the end of March to pass our final budget. After we passed our temporary budget, we did have a few things that came up. Some purchase orders from last year that had to be closed out for year end, which didn't allow for enough money to be budgeted from previous. So we had to add some money to a couple of line items. One area was for the purchase of the building on Square. There was a paving project that was actually budgeted in last year, but we had to close out the purchase order, so we had to reallocate that again for this year. That was, those are the two larger items that you will see if you were to go through and compare the budget line item to line item. Other than that, just minor stuff here and there to get us through what we believe will be the year. Obviously, depending on how things go in the year, we may have to look at additional appropriation, but Travis and I worked on it and feel pretty good about it.
Fantastic. Questions? If not, then we just pass this in the motion.
There you go.
All right, I would entertain a motion to approve the budget.
So moved.
So moved by Kelly Campbell. Is there a second? Second by Councilmember Barnhart. Greg, roll call, please.
Councilmember Campbell,
Yes.
Councilmember Ring,
Yes.
Councilmember Mays,
Yes.
Councilmember Barnhart,
Yes.
Councilmember Bahi,
Yes.
and Councilmember Hanselman.
Yes. That passes. And ordinance number
1389.
1389. Thank you. All right, and then guys, there is an add-on in front of you. It's the single piece of paper everyone should have a copy of. And Councilmember Campbell, can you read this by title?
Yeah. An ordinance authorizing the fiscal officer to create a capital improvement fund and declaring an emergency.
All right, and Greg, correct me if I'm wrong, essentially this is just a fund that's created for the money that's coming in for the grant money for the square.
Yes, so we would create this fund to be able to put the money in that we receive from the grant money. And if there's additional project to go along with it, then the fund would be open and available to use for that as well.
So essentially it's just opening a fund so that we can distinguish the monies and use them appropriately.
Yes.
All right, if there aren't any questions, I will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Motion is made by Councilmember Hanselman. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Councilmember Mays. Greg, roll call.
Councilmember Campbell,
Yes.
Councilmember Ring,
Yes.
Councilmember Mays,
Yes.
Councilmember Barnhart,
Yes.
Councilmember Bahi,
Yes.
Councilmember Hanselman.
Yes.
All right, and that would be ordinance 1390.
Motion passes, and that's ordinance number 1390. Thank you. All right, and then we're moving on. Our fiscal report is on page 106 in your packet, so well behind your budget in the back. Way in the back. All right, so take a look at that. That's your payment listing. If there are any questions, we certainly will entertain those. And as you're looking at that, you're also going to see on page 9 is your mayor's court. And then page 110 is your zoning report. So take a look at those. And again, if there are any questions, we will certainly entertain those. All right. If there are no additional questions, and keep in mind, you can always ask questions if you see something later. But if there are no additional questions, we will go right into roundtable. And I'm going to start on my left with Brooklyn. Brooklyn, anything for council tonight? No. Councilmember Campbell?
Just one thing. With us moving the playground equipment to the front of the park, it's going to create problems with that front soccer field. So I'm working with the head of the state soccer, going to meet with him out there, and we're going to, it won't affect it this spring because they're going to use the backfield. But by hopefully time the mulch gets in, everything gets redone, we're going to work about surveying that off and remeasuring and laying out some fields. Since we moved everything up, it just changes a lot of things around. So we'll be doing that soon. Other than that, that's all I got.
So they're gonna start using where the football field was too, is that correct?
Yeah. Yeah, they're gonna use it. This spring, they don't have the team, that older boy, or older team up there, so they're gonna use back there just to fill it in.
Okay.
And then that's part of the larger park plan.
Yes.
Irregardless, so that's something that the two of you for sure will be kind of mapping out as we move forward.
Yeah, he's gonna send me the layout of dimensions and all that stuff, and we're gonna meet out there sometime. And, depending on who signs up and how many teams, everything can change, so it's, it's constantly moving around, but Mitch Hastings, I think, has helped out over the years, and several people just nonstop, so I'm gonna be reaching out to a bunch of people and trying to get it all squared away.
Perfect. All right, thank you. Councilmember Hanselman?
Nothing.
Nothing. Councilmember Baki?
I don't have anything.
Councilmember Rain?
No.
Councilmember Mays?
No.
Travis?
Few more things. As we are doing the streetscape, there are some water mains that we are going to be digging up that area and putting new pavement in. So we're going to look at USDA loans for that so that we can replace those while it's all opened up. We don't want to have to go back in a year and repair a main that's, after this is done. So we're going to try to plan that so that we can do that at the same time. The USDA loans are a pretty good option for that. Sometimes if you have good histories, you can even get principal forgiveness, so we'll see what we can do there. But we are working with Ross County and the engineers to incorporate that into the streetscape. Tennis courts, I did add a copy of the agreement in your packets tonight, so we have that. I'm still researching. It looks like the company that is supposed to be getting me a quote hopefully next week, they just repaired this in 2019, latter half of 2019. So it's less than 6 years since it's been repaired, and it's in pretty bad shape. So, I'm concerned about the structure, the understructure of this. I've been told that maybe that was just put over fill dirt, and that might be a lot of the problem. So I think we need to figure out, really what's going on there, because that's some severe cracking and upheaval. The school did have somebody out there looking to repair the running track, so they sent me a quote for the tennis court repair, and that was like $85,000. So we just spent $33,000 5.5 years ago. So I think we're going to have to look at whether it's being maintained on a day-to-day basis, which is the school's part of the bargain, and then decide how we want to proceed. But this is a costly endeavor that the village has gotten itself into, and at some point council's going to have to decide whether they want to continue that or whether they want to repair it and give it back to the school maybe. So hopefully next meeting we'll have more information and we'll go from there. Electric rates, I'm close. I've been working on a spreadsheet with formulas so that we can calculate potential rate increases. What I'd like to do, I've been working with Cassandra and a software company. I think what we can do, instead of just raising the energy rate, we can add a capacity fee. That way we can take it out once the fee drops, or if it drops a little bit, we can adjust it. Every mid-year when that capacity fee changes, we can adjust it. It'll be easier to do that instead of just hiding it in a higher energy rate. So hopefully next council meeting, I'll have some examples of what we can do, and then I'll start that process. Still working on a traffic study for the intersection of Hamer Road and 68. We had the request from the school. We also have the industrial park that's kind of going to be using that intersection for entrance and exit here. When that gets up and running in a year or two, and we have the new county administration building that's out there, so I think we're going to have more activity at that intersection. So trying to find funding to do a traffic study and figure out what the proper course of action is there, and then see what we can do. I'm still not sure that it's a 20-mile-an-hour school zone, but I think we need to do the traffic study to make sure that whatever we do is the correct thing to fix it. So hopefully we'll get some funding on that this year. And then finally, with the industrial park, we've reached the point where we need to do a zoning change, and so that needs to go to planning commission. So I'd like council to make a referral to send that to planning commission to get the zoning changed on that parcel to prepare for the industrial park.
So it's currently zoned agriculture, right? Or,
I believe that's correct.
yeah,
So we change it from agricultural to industrial.
Yes.
assuming that's what they
Yeah.
approve or suggest, like,
Yeah.
we're just asking them to discuss the request. So that's why they're asking, how is
How
it?
soon do we need to do that?
We'd like to get the ball rolling.
I kind of would have assumed that would have been done once it was transferred anyways.
Well, it hasn't been in their name for very long.
Yeah, that just
It
happened.
just happened.
So we need to make a motion on that?
Yeah, I just need a
tonight?
motion to refer it to planning so it can be.
I'll make a motion to refer it to planning.
Councilmember Mays has made a motion, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Councilmember Campbell. Craig?
Councilmember Campbell,
Yes.
Councilmember Ring,
Yes.
Councilmember Mace,
Yes.
Councilmember Barnhart,
Yes.
Councilmember Bobby,
Yes.
Councilmember Huntsman.
Yes. All right, so motion passes, and again, what you guys are asking for is for this to go to the planning commission for them to discuss the request to have the type change. And so from there, then there's a process for that to really go into effect. Public hearing, correct? Is that
Comes
correct?
back to you.
And then it comes back to us to initially, finally vote on. Correct? Yes. So again, this is to open the discussion. That's what you guys are doing tonight. All right, thank you. Travis?
That's all I have.
All right, Joe?
Nothing tonight.
All right. Miss anyone? Okay. So our next council meeting is on March 27th, so that's going to be at 6 o'clock. And again, just a reminder, I think everyone's catching on, but all meetings now are at 6 p.m. here in the village chambers. So all council meetings start at 6 p.m. Outside of that, if there's nothing else to come before council, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Councilmember Baki made the motion. Is there a second? Second by Councilmember Hanselman. All those in favor state so by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.